Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why the people with the purest hearts, the most genuine intentions, often seem to carry the heaviest burdens in life? Why is it that those who wish no harm to anyone are the very ones tested again and again by pain, betrayal, and struggle? Suffering is not a punishment, but a preparation. It is one of the deepest truths that life teaches us, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. When pain arrives at our door, when struggles overwhelm us, the natural tendency is to believe that we are being punished for something, that we are being singled out by fate or destiny in some cruel way. But suffering is not designed to destroy you. It is designed to shape you into something stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. Life is not a teacher that rewards the careless with ease and the attentive with hardship out of cruelty. Life is a teacher that entrusts its hardest lessons to those who can endure and grow from them. If you look back at every moment in your life where you grew the most, you will notice something important. It was not in times of comfort or pleasure. Growth rarely happens in calm waters. It happens when the storms rage, when the path is unclear, when you are forced to dig deeper into yourself than you thought possible. This is why suffering comes to those who carry goodness in their hearts. It comes to awaken a power that lies dormant within them. Every tear, every heartbreak, every loss is not the end, but a beginning of transformation. It breaks the illusion of permanence, reminding us that nothing stays the same, and in this breaking we find the strength to rebuild, often stronger and more unshakable than before. The seed must crack before the tree can rise. The caterpillar must dissolve before the butterfly can emerge. The iron must enter the fire before it becomes steel. In the same way, the human heart must face suffering before it learns endurance, compassion, and depth. When life allows suffering into your journey, it is not writing you off, it is setting you apart. It is giving you the chance to carry wisdom that cannot be found in books, only in experience. People who have never suffered may live comfortably, but their understanding of themselves and others remains shallow. Those who have suffered deeply carry an invisible strength that radiates through their words, their presence, and their choices. Suffering, then, is not a punishment. Punishment is meant to limit you, but suffering expands you. Punishment seeks to break you down, but suffering invites you to build yourself up again, piece by piece, stronger and more aware. Punishment ends with bitterness, but suffering, if embraced with awareness, ends with transformation. This is why some of the kindest, most empathetic, and most inspiring people you will ever meet are those who have known suffering intimately. Their kindness is not naive, it is forged in the fire of pain. Their empathy is not shallow, it is born of understanding what it feels like to be broken. When you begin to see suffering as preparation, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, you see yourself as a student. Instead of carrying resentment, you begin to carry resilience. Every trial becomes a form of training. Every hardship becomes a hidden blessing, and every wound becomes a doorway to deeper strength. And while the pain itself may not be welcome, the person you become because of it is worth every struggle you endure. The strongest are chosen for the hardest battles. Life has a way of placing the heaviest weights on the shoulders that seem most capable of carrying them. This is not because life seeks to break these individuals, but because life recognizes their hidden strength, even when they themselves do not. When challenges come to someone again and again, it can feel unfair, like a cruel targeting. But in reality, those who face the toughest battles are being refined for a purpose greater than their own understanding. The truth is that struggle is not evenly distributed, and it never will be. Some people are asked to endure storms while others walk under calmer skies. This is not a mark of injustice, but rather a recognition of capacity. The mountain is not placed in front of you to block your way, but because you were meant to climb it. Consider how a diamond is formed. It is created under immense pressure, pressure so extreme that ordinary matter would crumble. Yet the diamond emerges unbreakable, clear, and radiant. In the same way, when life gives you its hardest battles, it is not punishing you. It is shaping you into something extraordinary. If you had been given only soft paths, you would remain ordinary. But when your journey is marked by challenges, betrayals, losses, and trials, you are forced to dig into reserves of courage, resilience, and wisdom that most never touch. Your battles reveal your strength to you, strength you may never have discovered in ease and comfort. There is a reason why soldiers are trained with the hardest drills, why athletes are pushed beyond their limits, why great leaders often have the darkest pasts. It is because only through the hardest challenges do we awaken our highest potential. The strongest are chosen for the hardest battles, because life knows they can endure, and in enduring, they can set an example for others. The struggles you face are not only for you. They are also for those who will one day look at your journey and find courage in it. Someone else's survival may depend on the story of how you survived. This is why it is often the kind-hearted, the wise, and the selfless who seem to suffer the most. They are given trials that refine them even further, because their strength is not just for themselves. Their strength is meant to be shared, to inspire, to guide, and to lift others who may stumble on their own paths. Your hardships are not just about your growth, they are about becoming a light for others in darkness. And this light can only be lit by enduring what most people cannot. It is important to understand that life does not place these battles before you because you deserve pain. It places them because you have the capacity to rise above them. The strongest are not those who avoid suffering, but those who face it, endure it, and continue to move forward in spite of it. And when the hardest battles arrive, they serve as proof that you have within you the strength to overcome. Life would not give you what you cannot carry. The fact that you are chosen for difficulty is itself a silent recognition that you are stronger than you realize. Adversity builds resilience, and resilience is one of the greatest qualities a human being can ever develop. It is not born in comfort, nor does it grow in times of ease. It is only in the face of struggle, hardship, and resistance that resilience is truly formed. Life, in its mysterious design, uses adversity as a tool to prepare us for challenges we cannot yet see. It sharpens us, molds us, and equips us with inner strength that we would never discover if everything flowed smoothly. When difficulties arrive, they do not come to destroy us, but to train us. Every obstacle, every setback, every disappointment is part of a hidden curriculum that life uses to make us stronger than we were yesterday. Think of a muscle. It only grows when it is pushed against resistance. Without weight, there is no strength. Without pressure, there is no growth. The same principle applies to the human spirit. Adversity is the weight placed upon us, and resilience is the strength we develop as we push back. Each trial becomes an opportunity to expand our capacity, to learn patience, to deepen our courage, and to prove to ourselves that we can endure far more than we ever imagined. When we look back at the hardest moments of our lives, what stands out is not the pain itself, but how it changed us. Adversity forces us to adapt. It forces us to think differently, to act more decisively, and to discover solutions we might never have considered otherwise. Without struggle, there is no innovation. Without hardship, there is no maturity. Without resistance, there is no resilience. The storms of life strip away our illusions of control and comfort, and in their place they leave a foundation built on strength and endurance. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or pretending challenges do not exist. It is about developing the capacity to bend without breaking, to stumble but still rise, to be wounded but not defeated. Each time we face adversity, we are given the choice to collapse under its weight or to use it as a stepping stone. And every time we choose to rise, our resilience grows. This growth is often invisible at first, but over time it becomes the defining trait of our character. People who have faced difficulties and risen above them carry a calmness, a confidence, and a quiet strength that no comfort could ever create. The beauty of adversity is that it does not discriminate. Everyone, at some point, will encounter it. But not everyone will respond in the same way. Some will resist it, curse it, or give up under its weight. Others will embrace it, learn from it, and allow it to transform them. The difference lies not in the severity of the challenge, but in the perspective with which it is faced. Those who understand that adversity is a teacher see each hardship as a lesson, each failure as feedback, and each obstacle as an invitation to grow stronger. Resilience is therefore not something given to us, it is something built within us, brick by brick, through every challenge we endure. The more we face adversity, the more we learn that setbacks are temporary, that pain eventually passes, and that we have the capacity to overcome far more than we once believed. And in time, resilience becomes not just a response to adversity, but a way of life, a steady force that allows us to remain unshaken, even when the storms around us are fierce. Pain refines the soul in ways that nothing else can. It is an unwelcome visitor that arrives without invitation, yet it carries within it lessons that shape the deepest parts of who we are. While joy, comfort, and success make life pleasant, it is pain that makes life meaningful. It strips away the illusions we carry, it exposes what truly matters, and it reveals to us the strength that lies hidden beneath the surface of our being. Without pain, the soul remains untested, untouched, and often unaware of its own depth. With pain, however, the soul is awakened, purified, and transformed into something greater than it was before. Every soul has layers of pride, fear, attachment, and desire. These layers cling to us and prevent us from seeing clearly. Pain has a way of burning through them. It tears apart our false identities and the masks we wear. It reminds us that we are not invincible, and at the same time, it shows us that we are not as fragile as we once believed. The very experiences that wound us also polish us. Just as fire removes impurities from gold, pain removes the excess that clouds the soul. What remains after the suffering is something purer, more compassionate, and more resilient. When we go through pain, we are forced to reflect. We ask questions we may never have considered in times of ease. Who am I really? What do I truly value? What kind of life am I meant to live? Pain has a way of directing us inward, toward a place where the noise of the world fades and the truth of our being emerges. In that silence, we begin to understand that suffering is not the enemy. It is a guide, a messenger, pointing us toward a deeper awareness of ourselves and others. Those who have never suffered may live on the surface of life, but those who have walked through pain often carry a depth of soul that radiates through their presence. Pain also cultivates compassion. Once you have suffered, you can recognize suffering in others. You no longer look at people with judgment, but with understanding. You know what it means to break, and therefore you know what it means to heal. This ability to empathize, to connect, and to offer kindness does not come from books or theories. It comes from the soul that has been refined by pain. It is why some of the most compassionate and wise people in history are also those who endured the greatest hardships. Their suffering became the soil from which their humanity blossomed. There is also a certain strength that pain leaves behind. It teaches us endurance, patience, and acceptance. It shows us that life cannot always be controlled, and that peace is not found in the absence of hardship, but in learning to carry it with grace. This strength is quiet, almost invisible, but it is unshakable. It is the kind of strength that allows someone to smile even after tears, to stand tall even when they are scarred, and to keep moving forward even when the path is heavy. In this way, pain is not only a force of destruction, but also a force of creation. It creates wisdom, compassion, strength, and depth within the soul. It refines us in a way nothing else can, and while it may never be welcomed, it is always transformative. The soul that has walked through pain is never the same as it was before, because it carries within it a clarity and purity that can only be born through suffering. Suffering is temporary, strength is eternal. When pain arrives, it feels endless, as if the weight of the moment will last forever. The nights seem longer, the days feel heavier, and the mind convinces itself that things will never change. Yet, No matter how overwhelming suffering may appear, it eventually passes. Time moves, wounds heal, and circumstances shift. What seemed unbearable yesterday slowly becomes a memory tomorrow. But what remains after the suffering is not the pain itself. What stays is the strength you gained from enduring it. Pain fades, but the wisdom, resilience, and inner power it leaves behind stay with you for a lifetime. Every hardship has an expiration date. The grief that once consumed you softens, the disappointment that broke your spirit becomes less sharp, and the failures that felt like the end turn into lessons that guide your future. But in the process of walking through these trials, you discover something permanent within yourself. You find out that you can carry more than you imagined, that you can rise after falling, that you can still breathe after being broken. This discovery becomes part of your character, woven into the foundation of who you are. The strength you build through suffering never disappears. It becomes a silent force that accompanies you in every step of life. It is easy to believe that suffering defines us, but in reality, it only shapes us. The real definition comes from what remains after suffering has passed. Each time you survive a challenge, you are not the same person you were before it began. You are wiser, calmer, and more resilient. You carry a quiet confidence that cannot be taken away, because you know you have walked through fire and emerged on the other side. This is why suffering, no matter how painful, is temporary. It is a season, a moment, a passage. But the strength it produces is timeless, because it transforms you at your core. Think of the scars you carry, whether physical or emotional. The pain that created them is gone, but the mark remains as a reminder of endurance. Those scars are not signs of weakness, but signs of survival. They show that you endured something that could have broken you, yet it did not. The pain passed, but the resilience stayed, and this resilience becomes part of your eternal strength, something you can call upon whenever life tests you again. This truth also shifts perspective. When you realize that suffering is temporary, you stop clinging to it as if it will last forever. You stop defining yourself by your hardships and begin to see them as passing storms. And when you recognize that strength is eternal, you find hope in the midst of struggle. You remind yourself that the pain you feel today is building a power that will serve you for the rest of your life. This is why the most inspiring people are often those who endured great suffering. They carry within them not the memory of pain, but the eternal strength born from it. Life has a rhythm of rise and fall, joy and sorrow, light and darkness. No season stays forever. But in every season of suffering, there is an opportunity to grow a strength that will never fade. That strength becomes your foundation, your anchor, and your light when the next storm comes. It is proof that while suffering passes like a shadow, the power it leaves behind is everlasting. Scars are proof of endurance and growth, and every scar tells a story far deeper than the eye can see. When life wounds us, whether through loss, betrayal, failure, or hardship, it leaves a mark. At first the mark feels raw, painful, and unwanted, but over time it becomes a scar, a reminder not of weakness but of survival. Scars are living evidence that although we were hurt, we were not destroyed. They carry the memory of pain, but more importantly, they carry the testimony of resilience. They show that no matter how deep the wound, healing was possible, and that healing transformed us into someone stronger and wiser. A scar is not just a trace of the past, it is a badge of endurance. To endure means to withstand, to continue, to keep going even when the weight seems unbearable. Every scar represents a chapter where quitting could have been an option, but it was not chosen. It symbolizes the nights spent in silent struggle, the tears shed in solitude, and the battles fought when no one else was watching. People often try to hide their scars out of shame, but in reality, scars are symbols of bravery. They are proof that pain did not have the final word, and that survival was stronger than suffering. Growth is the second message scars carry. Wounds change us, and scars remind us of that change. You are not the same person you were before you were hurt. Pain reshapes priorities, deepens understanding, and humbles the heart. It teaches patience, compassion, and gratitude. A scar is a permanent reminder that the version of yourself who once struggled has now evolved. The pain may have been temporary, but the lessons remain imprinted in who you have become. Scars show that even though the process was painful, it was not pointless. When you see someone with scars, whether visible on the skin or invisible in the soul, you are looking at someone who has endured and grown. They carry wisdom that only experience can teach. They know that life does not promise fairness or comfort, but it does offer opportunities to transform suffering into strength. Their scars are silent teachers, reminding them of battles already fought and victories already won. And when new challenges arise, they can look at those scars and remember that they have endured before, and they can endure again. There is also beauty in scars, a beauty that lies in authenticity. A person without scars may appear untouched, but it is often those with scars who carry the most depth and character. Their beauty is not in perfection, but in survival. Just as a tree with weathered bark still stands tall and proud, a human being with scars carries a beauty born from resilience. The scars are not flaws, they are marks of growth, evidence of strength, and reminders of transformation. Scars also connect us to others. When you share your scars, you share your story of survival. In doing so, you give hope to those who are still in the midst of their wounds. You show them that healing is possible, that growth is real, and that the pain they feel now can one day become a scar they wear with pride. Scars are proof that life can hurt deeply, but it can also heal, and in healing, it can bring forth a stronger and more resilient soul.